Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. We're about 1 minute since Nashville defeated Inter Miami 2-1. I'm your host, Scott. I'm here with my co-host, Saur. Saur, we instituted a new rule about a month ago, maybe a little less, that winners go first. We have not had to actually change anything about how we do the raw reaction because Inter Miami's just won every game. But the rule is the rule. Nashville goes first. They did a great job of making it very hard on Lionel Messi to get on the ball, and they made it very hard for Inter Miami to get Messi in dangerous positions. I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about Inter Miami, the coaching staff and decisions, game decisions, the player performances, but I want to give Nashville their due. Winners go first. Hani Mukhtar was the werewolf we were afraid of on Thursday night. First, especially in that first half, man, he turned back the clock and he was incredible. I thought their midfield did a really good job of just clogging the central part of the pitch and basically made Suarez and Messi irrelevant. Messi had a little bit of relevance towards the end, but Suarez became irrelevant. And they were flying around with a level of intensity that clearly helped them a lot.
We talked about Nashville having no strategy to be able to win this game. Inter Miami seemed to have figured them out. There were a couple of ways that they tried to play that were different. First game, they sat back. Second game, they came out more expansive. We forgot about a third way. The dark arts of football. They made it so physical, so aggressive, so dirty. I don't want to say dirty because it was just very physical and hard for Inter Miami to find any sort of rhythm because Nashville kept it very aggressive, constantly on the ball, in their faces the entire 90 minutes, and Inter Miami did not have an answer to that. Congratulations to them. Found a way to win. It's third. Winner decides the next spot. Winner takes all, right? That's not a great place for Inter Miami to be in. The vibes were very high before this game, and now they're all-time low again. But I would like to keep my head. I know this is an emotional reaction. There's still one more game to go. We'll see how that goes. But tonight was not Inter Miami's night. We tried a lot. It was just not a fantastic game of football. It became very physical the entire game, and that doesn't suit Inter Miami. And kudos to Nashville for getting the job done. I was frustrated while watching the game. Do not want to see the face of Sam Surridge again. Do not want to see Hani Mukhtar again. But unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about them for another week. Talk me out before I start digging myself a hole and cursing Nashville out. Well done to them, man. Fair enough.
Well done to Nashville. Fair enough. If you're a Nashville fan, I would turn off this now. Because they outplayed Inter Miami on this night because Inter Miami was really bad.
No, they didn't outplay Inter Miami. They outbullied Inter Miami.
No, they outplayed Inter Miami, but it was not because they were exceptional. It was because Inter Miami was really bad, and that's my point. They were ultra physical and intense, and the referee. Let's just go to the referee first.
So bad.
I think from minute 10 till the end of the game, he let every ticky-tack foul go. Which is what makes, in hindsight, the fact that it was such a ticky-tack foul that gives them the penalty, that gives them the goal they need early on, that changes the game and maybe the series. It was such a soft touch. And at the time, I didn't have a problem with it. But then when you look at how the rest of the game is refereed, where nothing was foul, there was no fouls for the rest of the game, unless you punched someone or kicked them and then etc. Like it was clearly that moment on the penalty for Sam Surridge is an outlier in terms of what was called a foul. And so that was disappointing, especially in retrospect. And then when you look at what Allende gets And they kept saying on the broadcast, like, you have to run through it. And it's like, you know why you have to run through it? Because you're getting fouled and you have to run through the foul, but you're getting fouled. So for that to not be called after what was called earlier in the game. And then, listen, I will say Miami got it back. Telasco Segovia commits a penalty, and that's not given either. So, like, it went both ways. It's just the game-deciding goal and the momentum shifting and narrative-driven, everything is like the softest foul of the entire game. It comes in the 9th minute.
See, if that's a penalty, then Tagset should have been sent off in the first half itself. He had a foul on Rodrigo de Paul that should have been a second yellow, and he should have been off. They were constantly in Inter Miami's face. It was such a hard watch. And fair enough to Nashville. That was their game plan. So if anyone's saying we're being sour losers, no, I think you had a plan. You executed it to perfection. It was just... And the referees were so unnecessarily inconsistent. Right, you have to set the standard at the start.
No, I really think that was the only inconsistent one.
No, but
like,
that's the thing, right? That's the biggest inconsistency, though. That completely changes the pendulum of the game in Nashville's favor, because then they've got one goal. The next goal basically decides the game because they then score right before the halftime as well. If we go into the half 1-1 or 1-0, it sounds better, it feels better. Inter Miami has a chance, regardless. If buts and maybes, but I disagree that the refereeing was consistent throughout. I think there were a lot of moments where the referee didn't even call a foul. There were a lot of moments where players were flopping around, both Inter Miami players and Nashville players. He just didn't have control of the game, and it never felt like a game that was consistently refereed for the 90 minutes.
We'll have to disagree. I thought that was the one out.
Fair enough.
I thought he wasn't calling anything the whole game, except for that one call. Okay, Nashville, I think we talked about. The refereeing, I think we talked about. The story is that Inter Miami has the talent to win this game 4-0, and they got outplayed because they were bad. And Jordi Alba was bad, and Luis Suarez was bad,
awful.
And Baltasar Rodriguez was bad,
terrible.
Rodrigo de Paul was bad,
awful.
Tadeo Allende was bad,
horrible.
Noah Allen was bad, and Leo Messi, aside from...
He didn't do anything, actually.
Messi had a couple uncharacteristic turnovers, but he was mostly marked out of the game. And the reason he was able to be marked out of the game is because every other player was so bad that they did not require any attention. I thought Maxi Falcone was pretty solid.
I thought he was the best player on the pitch.
I thought Busquets and Falcone were the two.
I thought Falcone was very good defensively, again, stepping up when he needed to, constantly harassing Sam Surridge, getting in the face of the players on the ball. I thought he had a much better game than the scoreline suggested, and I think the rest of the team was bang average. Bang average.
Oh, I think worse than that.
Yeah.
Like you could, I think Ian Frey maybe was average. I think Rocco Rios Novo, you could say, like he had the bad mistake in the first goal, but then was pretty solid after that. Like those guys were average, but I think a lot of performances were well below average. And this is exactly what kills Inter Miami in the biggest games, is that their best players don't show up. And you know what? Baltasar Rodriguez didn't show up today, and you can't have to have Baltasar show up in order to win games. But Luis Suarez has got to show up. Jordi Alba has got to show up. Rodrigo de Paul has got to show up. And Leo Messi has to show up.
And here's the thing, right? It's not even Nashville playing out of their mind to beat Inter Miami. For 65 minutes, or let's say before the second goal was scored, Nashville and Miami were actually toe and toe. Nashville was not creating that many chances. The XG was similar. Inter Miami had more chances on target. Inter Miami was getting in the box more. We just weren't creating the clinical, crisp chances that we've been doing so over the last 6-7 weeks. And it just felt like a complete step below what Inter Miami is used to as a standard. It wasn't like Nashville was constantly outplaying us. I'm reading in the chat where they're saying they caught us in transition. Not in the first half. They only started catching us in transition when Inter Miami was going for the game in the second half to try and score 2 goals. And even then, Sam Surridge was so bad in one-on-ones. Maxi Falcone was able to recover. Allen was able to recover. We were only caught in transition because we were 2-0 down and we had to throw the kitchen sink at Nashville to get something out of this game. Otherwise, if this was a 1-0 game, Nashville was not doing enough to win this.
By the way,
kudos to them. They found a way, but
that second half when they get all these transition opportunities, it actually wasn't a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
One big chance and less than half an XG. Like, Inter Miami asked their defensive players to make recovery runs, and they
And they
made them.
did.
And Nacy
Exactly.
Falcone and Busquets were a big part of that.
And
So
Segovia was coming back as well to support on defense once he came on. From minute 47 till about 75, it was all into Miami. We were constantly trying to create something. The problem was it was all in the final third. We never penetrated the box. Barely.
we were bad.
We were
in the
bad in the final third. So
up until
bad.
the last 10 minutes or so.
We kept the ball right outside the box, and we just kept doing these random balls over the top, hoping that somebody would get it. But it was so clogged up. It was so busy in the middle. There was no way into Miami would be able to get something.
And the thing is, those balls over the top were to Tadeo Allende, who didn't have a good game, and to Luis Suarez, who never got on the end of any of them. So, like, there was a ball in stoppage time, like 92nd minute, where Rodrigo de Paul tries to play an entry ball into Luis Suarez instead of cycling it wide and then putting it across. And it was like, that's never, like, you're trying to be the hero, Rodrigo de Paul.
Yeah.
And that is never, ever going to work with Luis Suarez, trying to make a run towards the baseline and then a narrow shot. Like, it's just not going to work. And, okay, I want to get to the chat, but I have one other thing I want to mention. Javier Mascherano makes a change at the end of the first half, like towards the end of the first half, where he puts Busquets in the back line. And I did think that was something that confused Nashville a little bit, and I thought they were less dangerous after that, especially through the middle. Like, I think it solidified Miami's defensively. And then at halftime, he makes the switch that he likes, which is take off a center back and put on either Baldassar or Telasco Segovia, in this case Segovia, and to push the numbers forward. And he makes that sub right away. So he makes it at halftime. So I appreciate the aggressiveness. I'm not sure what happened in the 54th minute. I don't know if Baldassar was injured or if he was running out of steam, but he puts on Silvetti in the 54th minute. And that's it. And that's not enough. That's not good enough. You have two substitution windows and 3 players. And I don't care if it means you put Yannick Bright at center back and you push Busquets forward. I don't care if it means putting Alan Obando in the box so you have a 6'4" target man in there to just muck it up and try and distract defenders. But you have to keep pushing the envelope. And the game had gotten stale after Silvetti. It was like good for like 8 minutes after Silvetti came on. And then it got stale. And it was stale for like 15 minutes, which is too long in this type of game. You have to continue pushing buttons to try and regain the edge. And like, I get you don't trust Alan Obando, but also he's 6'4" and he's a striker. And I get you don't trust Fafo Picault, but he's going to buzz around and create a different dynamic. And the dynamic you have right now is failing. And, you know, I also, maybe when he does trust more, is putting Yannick Bright as the reserve defender and pushing both Busquets and Telasco Segovia up and giving yourself a little bit more quality high up the field. Like, there are things you could have done, and he just sat on his hands. And, like, again, the only reason Inter Miami scored 1 goal is because Messi, I mean, that's a great shot. It's a great shot.
Beautiful goal.
And so Inter Miami could have easily been shut out in this game because of a lack of opportunities. And I just think from a coaching perspective, he went aggressive early, but then he didn't keep being aggressive. And I think that was a mistake.
My brain hurts, man. My brain hurts. I can't do this again. It's PTSD all over from last year. It's literally the same conversation. You have the door slam shut in Nashville's face. There's no way they're coming back. And then you just throw the keys at them. You remove the guards and you're like, yeah, please walk all over into our palace and just take all the furniture that you want. We've given them a sniff now, and they're going to fight for their lives at Chase Stadium. And it's going to be an absolute bloodbath next weekend. And we're going to have to sit through 90 minutes of football where it's going to be do or die. And Inter Miami will have to play out of their skins to get through. I'm sorry for the negativity. I know there's one more game left, but I don't think Inter Miami gets through. This team doesn't have the mental capacity to do it.
So you mentioned this in the pregame show, and this was a big conversation this week on social media around Inter Miami. But Rodrigo de Paul going to Argentina for this concert, and it's like that doesn't matter if you play well and win, and it matters everything if you play like you did tonight. And I don't mean to single out Rodrigo de Paul or this incident. It's just like a microcosm of
But that shouldn't even be an issue, man. You should be beating Nashville.
No, but my point is exactly what you're talking about, the mindset of the team and can they bounce back and can they be resilient and how serious are they taking it? Like that is all part of the conversation. Okay. Let's stop.
Can I just say one last thing?
Go ahead.
It's so scary that we went through this exact same process last season. We were in this exact same boat last season and we have learned nothing. Nothing. And we're going into the third game.
Who would have learned?
Messi, Suarez,
Tata Martino learned. Did Tata Martino learn? Did Chris Henderson learn? Yeah, those guys. Those are the ones who learned. And you reset everything this year. So like that experience, I don't think plays any factor. I don't think that plays any factor. And you know who else learned? Robert Taylor, and Julian Gressel, and Drake Callender. Like the whole team's reset except for Messi, Suarez, Alba, and Busquets. You know who wasn't there? Ian Frey and Rocco Rios Novo and Maxi Falcone and Rodrigo de Paul and Tadeo Allende. Like, so I don't think last year actually teaches these guys anything about this situation, and certainly not the coaching staff.
All right, put me out of my misery, man.
Michael says, I want to put you out of my misery, out of your misery. Season's done just like last year. Hernan says, Masha out. JC says, kill me. Lynn says, what a shame, but at least we get to enjoy another game. Frey was so good. You know, if we had won, we'd also be able to enjoy another game. Sarakti says, I hate to do this. This is on the VAR refs. Messi, goat as always. Okay, here's what I will say. This was a close game. It felt like the refs were disadvantaged. Like it was not an advantage for Inter Miami. It felt like it was in favor of Nashville. I'm not saying they called it poorly, but just that style of game. And also maybe the one lucky penalty call. Certainly in the rain helped Nashville. Certainly that they got an early goal helped Nashville. And I think the game was still kind of even. So I understand everything. I understand everything about this conversation goes back to last year. Man.
I don't even want to find any. The thing is, I don't want to find any silver lines because no matter what, if you're not mentally ready to go into that next game next weekend, there's no point of any of this conversation. Yes, there are positives that you can take away from this conversation, but Inter Miami should be winning regardless. There's no if, buts, or maybes. There's no, oh, there's hope. There shouldn't be a question of there's hope. You should have finished it tonight.
You're right. This is on 5 people. It's on Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, and Rodrigo de Paul. That's it.
Finish it. You finished the game tonight, and that's it. I literally just saw a post from 23 hours ago saying Javier Mascherano decides to go all guns blazing for the next game as they don't want to force a game 3. Look at where we are.
By the way, I thought the general game plan was a little conservative. We'll talk about this more. We'll talk about this more in the post game after we rewatch. But like, I thought their position was just too conservative. I don't even
think it was the game plan or the tactics.
I did.
It was the intensity. It was the demanding nature of the game. You just didn't keep up with it. Anyways, my point is, Inter Miami should have killed this tonight. We can take positives away from it, but the point is, you're going into the next game. You have to show up. There's no question about losing to Nashville next weekend. There's none. And at this point, I don't think Inter Miami is the favorites to win the MLS Cup, because if you can put in this kind of a performance in a potentially do-or-die game, then you're not ready to win the MLS Cup. It's like a gut-wrenching punch, because now you've given Nashville an opportunity, and now they're going to think they have a chance, which is not where you want to be with your opposition. Sorry.
Nashville played higher up the pitch on average than Inter Miami. And that's like the whole thing we've been talking about, is you need to sort of pin them deep. And even if it's not and that includes the last 10 minutes when it was just entirely in Nashville's half, you have to do that. And I get you're in an emotional state, and that's fine. This is the raw reaction. And so maybe this isn't really the time to analyze it. We'll have tomorrow for that. But I think we're just panicking. I think it's just panic.
And what other thing is there to do? We were here in this situation last year as well. Scotty, we should have beaten Atlanta in all probability. The problem is now it's going to come down to one moment. One decision by the referee to give a penalty, one decision by the referee to give a red card, one player on the Nashville team that decides to show up, whether it's Joe Willis, whether it's Hani Mukhtar, one deflected goal, one poor pass, and your season's over.
One
It's
ninth-minute
over.
penalty. Yeah. 1 ninth-minute penalty.
This was the chance, and it's over.
The other thing is, like, I'm trying not to make this about next week. I'm not ready for that conversation. But like the whole project now relies on one game, and that's what you do by putting out this tonight. Genesis says Allende and Mascherano frowny face. Listen, Allende wasn't good, and I don't think Mascherano did what he needed to do in the second half. But like, it's not on Tadeo Allende to win you games in the playoffs. It's on Luis Suarez and Messi and Alba and DePaul and Busquets. Like, if your stars aren't going to play well, it doesn't. You can't have Tadeo Allende bailing you out.
Like, this is what
Expecting
the
that.
team is built on, and this is the moment where the stars need to shine.
Okay, this is what happened last playoffs. Our best players didn't play well. And then our role players got injured and couldn't bail them out.
And by the way, just to clarify, I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying you're putting the decisions in the hands of like 2-3 moments. And now it's like you almost are not fully in control of your destiny. That's what I'm talking about.
I think you're right about that. The Devinit says DePaul stinker, can't play that poorly in the middle and win playoff games. It's crazy because we were just talking about how good he looked last week, and this was as bad as he's been. Actually, no, it's not. He's been worse than this, but this was bad. and in the biggest moment, too. Okay, normally we would talk about individual player performances. Let's start here. What did you think of Rodrigo DePaul?
Bad, not good. Gave the ball away so many times, was always on the back foot, was chasing shadows at some points. And the thing was, we won the ball in the middle sometimes, but then we gave it back immediately. There was no calm composure at all. Last week, he did such a good job controlling the middle and was basically an orchestrator. Today, it wasn't good at all.
Yeah, I want to rewatch the game. I don't want to say what I'm thinking right now because I want to double check on the rewatch, but not a good game from DePaul. Pepto says Miami murdered in transition all night, outnumbered in the midfield. Let me remind you that Miami played a 4-3-3 when Suarez was suspended. Just to be clear, I want to double check that. Miami did not play a 4-3-3 when Suarez was suspended. They played with a back three when Suarez was suspended for 2 of the 3 games. I agree with you. This is probably the comment you saw earlier that they were beat in the second half, but that was by design because they wanted to push numbers forward.
But yes, they were not beaten on transition that much, but they did lose the midfield battle. Clearly.
They didn't get Messi on the ball enough, and I think that's the problem. Because here's what I started to see in the second half. They were afraid to make the long diagonals, and that's what you have to do when the entire midfield is collapsing in one spot. You just have to bypass the midfield on those long diagonals, and then whoever receives it puts in either a switch or a cross into the box, and then you get them out of position and you create opportunities for yourself. And the problem was we were afraid to make the long diagonal, especially to Ian Frey on that right side. And then Luis Suarez was just bad. And so there was no one to put the cross into anyways. So Anton says, surprise Bright never came on. Not sure about Silvetti. Again, I think Inter Miami needed to shake things up again with another substitution by like the 75th minute, and it just never came. And even if it's Yannick Bright, and it just allows you to put Velasco Segovia higher up the field, or it allows you to move Busquets from the center back spot back up into like an attacking midfielder role so you have his quality in those tight spaces higher up the field, do it. Just do something. And Yannick Bright is the piece on the bench that he trusts the most to actually put into the game. So whether it's Yannick Bright or Fafa or Alan Obando, whatever, you had to do something.
And by the way, you can't blame Silvetti or Baltazar for this performance. You can't. Like, they're a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds, man. If your stars aren't performing, they're not the ones who are supposed to bail you out by pulling off a rabbit out of the hat. Yes, they could, but the onus should not be on their shoulders. So their performance may not have been great, but you can't expect them to win you the game. It shouldn't have come to that.
Yeah, and listen, we talked about this. I talked about this a lot when Silvetti first came. Exciting talent. Like, hopefully he has a huge future, but like, you can't ask him to be the savior. You can't. You just can't. And he wasn't tonight. He does get an opportunity on a header, puts it a little high, but it's like, that's not what this game was about. KGF says that defense was horrible. Is he talking about Miami?
I think so.
I didn't think the defense was that bad.
I didn't think so either.
Here's what I will say. Noah Allen, I thought, had a couple sloppy turnovers. So in possession, I thought he didn't have a great game. And then the midfield was just terrible. And the they were getting overrun defensively. But I thought the defense played fine. It played satisfactory.
Yeah.
Well, I will say Ian Frey gets beat on the corner goal that Nashville scores. But it's not if that's what you want to call our defense. But I think our run of play defense was fine. And what does that say? That our 2 goals, I really think we played really poorly. And the 2 goals we allowed were a really soft penalty and a set piece corner goal. Like, it was not like Nashville was.
They had 2 expected
cruising.
Goals, and one of them was a penalty.
Yeah, but 0.75 of that is the penalty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And they created 3 big chances compared to Inter Miami's 4 big chances. Their total shots were less than they didn't outplay Inter Miami in front of goal.
This is what I was saying. They didn't play that well. It was just a couple things went their way early, and Inter Miami just didn't play well at all. KSAN says, bad passes from DePaul, bad defending. No one could pass to Messi. He was clear so many times. Did you think, okay, this was one of the problems. Inter Miami did not get the ball to Messi sufficiently. Did you think he was open? Do you think he was, or did you think Nashville did a good job of taking him out of the game? Like, was that an Inter Miami failure? Getting Messi on the ball. Was that a Miami failure or a Nashville success?
I think it was a Nashville success. They really clogged it up. Like, they hounded him. Every time he got on the ball, there were like 3 players around him. So I don't even blame him. Like, that was their game plan. The thing is, when 3 players are around Messi, there has to be somebody who's free.
Exactly. And that's where the poor performances hurt.
Exactly.
Across the board. Messi had 53 touches in this game. And obviously, he was getting on the ball a lot at the very end. Miami was forcing it to him. Last game, he also finishes with 53 passes or 53 touches. So I don't know.
But it's not about the touches themselves. It's about the quality of the touches, right?
Well, I think he got a lot of touches at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But early in the game, when it was time to dictate tempo and for Inter Miami to put a goal on the board and kill the game and series off, that's when we weren't getting him on the ball, because I do think it was Nashville doing a good job, but that's why you need Luis Suarez to play well. That's why you need Tadeo Allende to have a nice touch or 2, or Jordi Alba or Rodrigo de Paul or whatever, to just take advantage of the space that's freed up by Messi occupying so many defenders. Elmer says Baltasar should have stayed on and Allende out for Silvetti. I thought both Baltasar, Allende, and Silvetti were non-impactful in this game. I don't think any of them get pluses.
Yeah. Allende missed a couple of chances as well.
Was it a penalty, you think, on him?
Nah, it was soft.
Yeah, I think so too. Based on the way the rest of the game was reffed, I would say no. It's just the one penalty Nashville got that is the outlier in this whole thing. I will say, and I've been saying this for the last 4 months, if Messi doesn't get 2 goal contributions, Miami's not going to win a game. And if Messi had gotten 2+ goal contributions today, Inter Miami could have won this game. And because he didn't, they didn't. Stuff. Elmer says if Messi's not playing well, the whole team is poor.
Today, that was the case. It's not always been that case, because Messi doesn't have poor performances.
It's also not the case because the reason the other guys played poorly is because they were loose with the ball and they were shifting off focus and they lacked intensity. It wasn't that they were trying to play too hard.
I need to rewatch that game. I don't know what the reason why Miami played. Was it the tactics? Was it the intensity? Was it the atmosphere? What was it? Like, I'll have to rewatch the game to understand what went wrong, because yeah, it was a hard one to swallow, man. Hard one to swallow.
You know, it's funny, if this had been a two-legged tie where it was like on aggregate,
We would have gone through.
except not if that Messi goal hadn't happened, because they would have gone through on away goals.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad we have a third game. Pepto says even in the second half they stayed in a 4-4-2, handing Nashville the midfield, hopeless because of players untouchable. I get it. You want to like analyze it a little bit, but you also want to react emotionally, and maybe it's better if we wait to rewatch the game before we actually analyze it. Elmer says Suarez should have come out for Fafa. Crazy he stayed on for 90 minutes. Luis Suarez is the guy that can win you the game in 1 second. And so he played terrible, and if he wasn't Luis Suarez, he absolutely should have. Like,
You know what my dilemma
that's
is?
a tough decision. It's a tough decision.
I am very tempted to use this one game to just declare all the good vibes out the window and go back to the conversations we were having 6 weeks ago. That would be my emotional reaction immediately. But I don't want to do that. So I'm going to stop myself from saying anything without actually watching the game again to understand what went wrong. And let's be honest, we have one more game left next weekend. If Inter Miami plays like this, we're out. But Inter Miami's shown that they're better than this and they can produce a performance that will win us the game. My only issue is the PTSD from last season. And that's why I'm so down and out about this performance. I think in another universe, we could have got some extra minutes. 6 minutes was very, very limited compared to what 11 minutes last game.
Oh yeah. And considering how many players were getting
flopping,
injured, yeah, that was crazy compared to especially.
So I think there's a way that Inter Miami goes on to draw this game and take it to penalty. So let's not overreact. And I personally do not want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but it sucks because I just want one easy run with this. Like, it would have been so nice to have the next 3 weeks just talking about the opponent, thinking about what the next game is going to be. It's just
Okay, let's get some silver linings in then, because I got a couple.
Okay.
First off, Inter Miami just proved they could win 4 games in a row. But they weren't going to win 8 games in a row.
They weren't going to win 8 games in a row.
So if they lose today,
you know what?
And they win their next 4, this is bada boom, bada bang. So.
Thank you, Scotty. You've just uplifted my mood suddenly. I feel so much better.
That's the first silver lining.
That is
the
a great
second silver lining is if they had won tonight, they'd have a 3-week break. And instead, if they go through, we'll only have a 2-week break.
Yeah, but if they don't go through, they're gonna have like a 4-month break. So
we don't. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about positives. No, but I do think, like, we said all year that they were not going to win 5, 6, 7 games in a row, and now they only have to win 4.
That's fair. That's very fair.
SD says no Bright versus Atlanta and we lost. No Bright versus Nashville and we lost. At least for fresh legs, Bright could have done better than Suarez Ariende if not for RDP.
I think what Bright does is he would have stayed in the middle and at the back and just allowed everyone to push forward a lot more. We did try to do that, but then we were getting beat in transition. I think he gives you that safety net in the back.
Well, it's not just that. Like, Messi is your most technical player. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's Sergio Busquets.
Yeah.
And do you want Sergio Busquets when the midfield is ultra crowded high up the field? Do you want him on your back line, or do you want him as like a pseudo number 10 playing at the edge of the box, trying to combine with Messi and Suarez and then recycling to Alba and to Paul? And so, like, in my head, probably the move I would have made would have been to put Bright on and then move Segovia higher up the field and move
Busquets
higher up the field.
Yeah.
But I also, like, I think that means you take off Matteo Silvetti because I'm not sure who else you would have taken off.
Yeah.
So, and then also Busquets is 6'4". So, like, if you're going to start putting balls into the box, like, he is a better target man than.
But I do want to say I'm okay with Bright not coming on, honestly, because you do need a goal, and like it's
Well, you need to do
understandable what
something.
he's yeah.
You had to do something. And I get he doesn't trust Alan Obondo, and I get he doesn't trust Fafa Pico.
I would have rather Fafa or Alan Obondo. Sorry to cut you off,
Me
but
too.
I
No,
would
me
rather.
too.
Yeah.
Me too. But just thinking the way Mascherano thinks, like he doesn't trust those guys. He does trust Yannick Bright. So I'm like trying to find a creative way to stick with guys he trusts. But I agree with you. I think Alan Obondo is the guy for this situation, which is crazy. But also, you've got a ball into Matteo Silvetti with a chance to tie the game, and it's not even about his height. It's just Alan Obondo's been heading balls as a poacher for the last 10 years of his life because he's been a foot taller than everyone else or a head taller than everyone else. Like, maybe that is the difference. But I also get Alan Obondo hasn't played in 6 months. So, but you got to try something. So. Ash says Mascherano is not him. Upcode says Miami was much better in the second half. Crazy rain, weird reffing all game. Let's see what happens in Miami. Charlie says that open net miss by Allende was painful. Again, though, I don't think, sure, that could have changed everything. But at the same time, they should have created 5 more of those types of chances if Jordi Alba and Luis Suarez and everyone else played well. So that sucks.
I was so lazy. If everyone played well, Inter Miami would have won the game. That's. I wish that wasn't the case.
You know who
but that
played
is
well?
The case.
You know who played well? Hani Mukhtar played well.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Hani Mukhtar played well. Their best player showed up. Walker Zimmerman played well. That was like he's the guy that sort of is he getting too old for this or not? He played well.
Yazbek and Dagset played well.
Andy Nahar played well.
Yeah.
So it's like Sam Surge did not play well. But Hani Mukhtar played exceptionally well. So Wookie says, I suspect the goalie's going to play. Going to pull a Guzan in game 3.
That's what I'm saying, man. You've given them a chance now. You've given them a chance.
Okay. This is an interesting one from Anton. We never do well in the cold rain or on the road, or rather the cold rain on the road. This is an old team. And maybe it is harder to get your bones moving when it's cold outside. I don't know what you're laughing at. I'm sure I'll get to it. But
sorry.
Are they gonna go back to South Florida and play really well because they're used to the temperature and the humidity, and they're gonna have Nashville in a way that they're not expecting it, and like all of a sudden they're gonna look like the ultra intense and energized team. But then they would still have to go to Cincinnati and Philadelphia. And I specifically remember this conversation back when we played Sporting Kansas City to open the season, and it was like really cold. And everyone was wearing long sleeves. And I noticed early in this game, everyone's wearing long sleeve shirts because it's cold there. And that's what's going to happen for the rest of the playoffs on the road. Every game not in Miami. Is that anything for you?
Nothing. Literally does nothing.
Okay.
No, like if you want to be champions, you can't be blaming the weather.
Yes, I agree. But also, we, who have no control over this, can blame them for not getting 2 extra points in the regular season.
Yeah. True. We're grasping at straws, man. We're grasping at straws.
Well, this is the raw reaction.
This is the raw reaction. Yeah.
CS says Suarez forgot how to finish. Sean Callahan said RDP is the new Redondo and Suarez is bad. Suarez, I thought, looked even slower than normal today, or like less capable of having an impact.
Yeah. I think there was one moment where he did well, where he had a good chance, where he hit the post, but then I think he was offside on that chance. So it wouldn't have counted anyways.
Yeah, but it was an outlier moment.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to. He was not. This is something we talked about a lot last year, where if he is getting out physically athletic, like either physically or athletically, just can't do anything in and around the box, he starts to peel out to try and be a playmaker. But then you have no striker. And so what we talked about last year is put Campana and Suarez on together. And a couple times we saw that Campana ends up making the difference. And you don't have that this year, so we haven't talked about it as much because you don't even have a guy. But, man, he just was not able to have any impact in this game. It's really disappointing. And again, when you're talking about them clogging up the middle and you're peeling out to try and be a player, you got to have an impact. And he just had no impact.
But that's been him for the majority of the season, though.
I mean, he had an assist to Messi like last game, right? 2 games ago.
That was a good assist, though. That was a good assist.
No, like I thought this was a really, really poor performance from him. I thought this was one of his worst games of the year. Naya says, I'll give you the lineup next game. Messi, that's it. That's all we need to win a game. Yeah, but the other thing about this game is it's not about winning in game 3. Of course we can win game 3. It's like all of that good feeling we built up over the last couple of weeks about how maybe we can go on a run. It's like splattered.
And I'm a little confused because I need to understand how we lost that game. Like tomorrow I want to talk about why we lost the game more than anything else. Yes, the future. Yes, the next game is important. Yes, the playoffs and all of that. Absolutely. But I think what's confusing me right now is what did Inter Miami do well and what did Inter Miami do poorly that lost us the game? Because that's going to help me understand whether Inter Miami is capable of beating Nashville next week. That's going to help me rationalize the performance a little bit. So maybe that's why I'm struggling to emote properly, but that's where my head is at right now.
So should this just be like the implications and not about the game? Is that how we should keep this?
I don't know, because it's too easy to talk about the implications. Everyone knows what the implications are. The implications have been there for the entire season. And that's the issue that I've faced with this Inter Miami team, right? The death knell is sounded every time we lose. And I don't want to do that. But also it feels like the death knell has been sounded. Like we're in the exact same position as we were last season. Exactly the same. We had this exact conversation. We literally said, oh, at least Inter Miami will not have to have a 3-week break, which means if we win against Atlanta next weekend, we're going to be back in, good form or whatever. And the exact same conversation happened. So I want to take away all of that. I want to strip away everything that has to do with what does the future hold, and I just want to focus on the game. And I know that's not the purpose of this particular episode, so I'm more excited for tomorrow, where I'm going to rewatch the game and figure it out.
Here's what I'll say. I thought we were going to beat Atlanta up until the 76th minute last year. Like, even we went down early last year, and we came back, and Messi gets the equalizer in the 65th minute of that game, and it's 2-2, and we're going to run away with it. And you know what? Guzan played great, but we made it through, and we survived their best shot. And then out of nowhere, they get a third goal. And it's like...
Nah, man, we're going to win, man. We're going to win.
No, but so... Now I think a lot of Inter Miami fans are going to have the opposite feeling where it's like, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And there's not going to be any confidence this week until
that's where my mind is at. Yeah. Here's an interesting
So that's
question.
the opposite of last year.
Here's an interesting question. Would you start the same 11 next weekend?
Yes.
Exact same 11.
Exact same 11.
I would too.
Well, assuming Baltasar is fully ready to go,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only one I would consider is Baltasar and
maybe.
Velasco. I wouldn't consider Silvetti or Fafa instead of Allende, no matter how poorly I thought Allende played today. Obviously, you're not taking Suarez out. That back line I'd stick with. Again, I thought Noah had a couple
I thought they
poor
played
moments in
well.
possession, but I thought they were fine. And then I would not change, and this leads to our next chat, Rocco. At goal.
I think the issue was the front line, right? The front line, which has been doing so well, was the issue because we didn't have any penetration. Yeah. We didn't have any penetration at all. And that kind of killed us.
You know what this is? When we played Nashville 2 weeks ago in that first half, we talked about how they played this game in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And they got blown out by Nashville or overrun by Nashville. And as soon as they start playing in their own half or in Nashville's half, they really start to play much better because Nashville can't break down what Inter Miami does in their own half defensively because they don't have that quality. And then in their own half, like if Inter Miami pushes it into Nashville's half, they're going to start turning the ball over because their defenders don't have the quality to play through it. And then you create all these great opportunities. One, that's tough because even though I do think that would work against Nashville, like as you get into the best teams in the league, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, et cetera, like it's going to be less effective. But two, Inter Miami couldn't do that tonight. This game was played in the middle of the park. Okay,
it's truly Halloween.
Pepto says Rocco can't be the starting goalkeeper next season. What do you think of Rocco? Not for next season, for this playoffs.
I think he was fine. I do not think it was a penalty, first of all. He could have done better, obviously, coming up to collect the ball earlier. Was a little bit late, but I thought Sam Saur made an absolute meal out of that, sold that performance. Should probably get an Oscar from it. But the rest of the game, I thought Rocco was good.
He was way too slow to come out on the ball, certainly. And ironically, this is the one thing Ustari's like exceptional at is his decision making on how quickly to come out. But also, he made a nice save on Hani Mukhtar's shot like 20 minutes later that I thought totally made up for it. So
yeah,
and again, super soft penalty.
Yeah,
like the penalty, I don't necessarily blame him on, but it was slow to come out. He was slow to come out.
One thing I will say is Suarez pointed in the right direction where Sam Saur scored, and Rocco went the other way, which was interesting.
I didn't notice that.
I noticed it.
Pythia says, I told you guys tag Seth will be a problem and Allen and Allende would be the wink link.
He pissed me off, man. Tag Seth pissed me off. He should have been off.
I think if you're blaming Allen and Allende, you're missing the bigger picture.
Who should you blame then?
Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, Rodrigo de Paul. First and foremost. Because those three are the players, when Messi is entirely swallowed up, that are responsible for playing well to free Messi up. And Messi never got free because those three players played really poorly. And you know what? You can say Tadeo Allende was bad, and he could have done it also, but Tadeo Allende is not Luis Suarez, and he's not Jordi Alba, and he's not Rodrigo de Paul. So.
And they are the leaders on the pitch, right? So.
Ash says you should start Toto Aviles and David Ruiz next game to match Nashville's dirty play.
Could you believe that? Just throw on all the bench players in the next game. Completely mess up Nashville's plan. That's going to be so fun. I'd pay to watch that.
Sean said, well, that's how you get a red card and lose your season. Sean says we didn't have a shot on target till the 66th minute, so there's that too. And that, I think, is the point. A lot of the numbers will look pretty similar at the end of the game because Inter Miami
created a lot more.
Put a lot of opportunities into the box as Nashville was sort of bunkering. But for the vast majority of this game, they just didn't play well enough to create anything. And again, that's not Noah Allen's fault. It's okay, you can blame Tadeo Allende a bit, but Naya says talk about Messi. What do you think about Messi?
I think he was fine. He was okay, of course, not nearly what he was, but oh man, it's a tough one, isn't it? He scores an absolute beauty, but there's only as much he can do. And you could see what Nashville's plan was. They wanted to crowd him out. They did that very successfully. And there were moments where you could see Messi was trying his best, but there was nobody to offer him that 1-2, nobody to play in and around him. The movement was not happening. And yeah, it was just sad to see that we didn't offer him enough support.
I didn't think he played that well. He has a great goal. The goal is fantastic, and it probably takes his like overall performance from like a maybe slightly below average to good. And if he was a normal player and he gets a goal like that, like we're saying he had a good performance. So I get the standard is all messed up.
No, but here's the thing,
he had a couple lazy passes.
Did he not play well?
Especially late. He had a couple balls. Like I remember one where he pushes it to Maxi Falcone and he puts it behind Maxi Falcone. It's a turnover and then takes 35 seconds off the clock at the end of the game for Miami to pull it back. I'm not going to say Nashville made it easy for him. Like I do think Nashville did a great job of making life hard for Messi. So I'm not putting blame on him like I am for some of these other guys. But I didn't think he played particularly well. He had some set pieces that weren't delivered particularly well. The first man sort of put him off. Like, these are the little ways you can impact the game when you're being taken out in the run of play. And I just didn't think he did that today. But I will say he's one of the players I'm not worried about for next game. So.
He's going to win us the next game. So
Yeah, he is.
He's going to score a hat trick and he's going to win us the next game. So let's not even say anything.
Niaz says Falcone man of the match for Miami.
I think so. I thought he was phenomenal. Oh, well, he was much better than the rest.
Him and Suarez, not Suarez,
Busquets.
Him and Busquets were the two like standouts for Inter Miami. And I think Rocco after the 10th minute.
Yeah.
Lynn says they were not all bad. You guys are so harsh. I think you will view it differently on the rewatch. Well, that's the lovely thing about the rewatch. And the good thing about the Driving Dialogue is we're always comfortable being total knuckleheads.
Wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
We're always happy to be wrong, guys. In fact, we're wrong more often than not.
Sean says Ian Frey was the best player on the pitch.
I thought he was okay. I thought he was good, but he also was. His passing was off in certain moments, and I thought he could have done a lot better on certain plays.
I think he's got the type of performance where if we win this game 3-1, we think, yeah, he was good or solid. But because of that, because we lose, like it's. But I agree with you. I thought I would put him in like one of the better players for Inter Miami. He does create his own. Inter Miami looked like they gave up in the 94th minute. Like the ball went the other way and there was not a lot of guys running. And Ian Frey takes the ball and just dribbles through two guys and earns a foul. And that's what leads to the last set piece for Messi that doesn't end up becoming anything because it hits the first guy and he heads it away. But like that is sort of one of those moments where it's like a never quit attitude that I do appreciate. But I also understand that we love Ian Frey, so we look for those type of moments. Ash says, in his opinion, we played too high and too vulnerable to the counter. What do you think?
I think we were forced to once they scored the 2 goals. Up until the first half, when it was 1-0, I don't think we did. We were doing that.
I think it's the opposite. I think we would have been better if we started that way. Again, Inter Miami handled them in transition. I think this idea that we were terrible in transition is a mistake. Our guys came up with the plays that they had to, and Nashville was not creating huge opportunities. They had, I think, one great opportunity that Sam Sturridge messed up. But aside from that, I thought Inter Miami did what they had to do defensively. Anton says, if we win Game 3, the Silver Lions will be avoiding a 3-week break. It's never good for the old guys. Lawrence says, I think Rodriguez was far better than Allende. He should have been the one to change.
Was Rodriguez injured? That's why he was taken off? Or
I don't think Baldassar was impactful in this game at all. And I think Allende is more likely to score a goal for you than Baldassar. But neither of them played well. So won't fight you on it. CV says, instead of Silvetti, why not Bright is my question. I think Baltasar was injured.
Maybe.
And the thing is, you have to remember, if you're Baltasar, that game had opened up to the point where Inter Miami is going to be expected, and guys like Baltasar are going to be expected to play at the edge of the final third for Nashville and then consistently make 60-yard sprints back to defend in transition. And so even if he was just feeling it a little bit, but he didn't think he was going to be able to do that work, like, you take him off. Sean says playing Busquets in that center back role messes up a lot of teams because you can't press him high. Lawrence says Inter Miami wasted chances at the beginning.
How many clear-cut chances did we have? We hit the post once.
Messi, the other one is Messi had a great chance that Segovia puts into him, and he puts it right at the keeper. And they showed the replay from behind, and 65% of the goal, if he puts it there, it's a goal. And he just puts it right at Joe Willis. And again, like that would have been the 2+ Messi goal contributions we needed, and then Inter Miami would have won this game. So it's not as bad of a miss as what happened in the Leagues Cup final, but like I thought that was one of Messi's worst misses of the season. And you can't have that in the biggest games. So I'm not going to blame him like I am Suarez and DePaul, but I didn't think he played particularly well. Porfirio says Allen was very bad and Rocco choked.
I disagree.
I disagree too. Do you think this year and last year is because of arrogance?
Last year, maybe. This year, I hope not. It's not over yet, but we'll see.
They just don't like the rain. We learned this against the New York Red Bulls last year. Jordi Alba and Luis Suarez do not like playing in the rain. Ash says, what's changed since the Cavalier CONCACAF Champions Cup season?
Oh, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Oh, good old days, isn't it?
No, I think they are better. I think they're better.
Yeah. They're clicking more. I think
they play much more aggressively. I do. I think they play much more aggressively, and I think they unlocked Jordi Alba and Ian Frey to go be offensive playmakers. And I think it's worked out much better for the team. Upcoat says, guys, calm down. It poured all game, and they had a crazy bad ref, and we still almost came back. Chill. Jeez.
That's a silver lining.
Janet says the ref was shockingly awful. Naya says it's time to have an anti-DePaul podcast. You know what, though, Saur? I will say, like, fourth game of DePaul's time, and it reminded me, I was like, I'm not sure what's going on with Rodrigo DePaul. Maybe it was like his sixth game, actually. And you told me it's only been 6 games, and he didn't have a break, so he's not going to be good yet because he didn't have a break. And I was like, does that mean he's not going to be good until next season? Maybe you were right.
Yeah, next season is what he's holding, you know.
Oprah says, how do you not use all your subs in a game like this? Even in the 90th minute, throw on Alan Obando, who is 6'4", and you're putting balls in the box. That really does bother me about Mascherano's decision making in this game. Like, he turtled in the last 30 minutes, and it's not the biggest reason we lost, but it was a coaching mistake. Jerry says that Fafa should have replaced Baltasar when he went out, so that he should have replaced Allende.
Fafa hasn't played in, 6 games? When was the last time Fafa even played a game?
More recently than Alan Obando. We've been talking about Alan Obando playing.
when did Obando last play a game, by the way? Yeah, Fafa hasn't played in 3 games since Atlanta.
He hasn't played since Atlanta. And he hasn't started. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't think Alan Obando has played since June.
Yeah, the more I think about it, you can't just throw Alan Obando on, can you?
Of course you can. No, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. You're talking about 7 minutes at the end of the game, and he's a target man striker. I'm not saying you need a midfielder. I'm saying you put another guy in the box that's big and physical. Like, of course you can put Alan Obando in, unless he's actually physically not ready to play.
Yeah.
Like, do you just put him on the bench because he's working his way back? Like, but if he's ready to play, like, I think he should have been in this game. Even if it's in the 91st minute, he should have been in the game. Jerry says Miami will win next week.
I hope so, Jerry.
Porfirio says, you guys are incredible. You're blaming the stars. Seriously? Question mark. I don't guess I understand.
I think the point they're trying to make is you can't blame the superstars for the loss.
He says Suarez needs out. Every other star is the only reason why they are winning anything.
We haven't won anything this season, by the way. Just saying.
Listen, that's fine. You're right. They win games because of their star players, but then they lose games because of their star players. And it doesn't have to be that way.
And it's not even just about the star players, though, right? They also are the most experienced players in this team. They're the leaders of this team. So if they're not performing well, who else would you actually look to lead the squad? Yes, there were poor performances across the board, but that involved, it wasn't as though Suarez Alba, Rodrigo de Paul, Busquets, Messi had phenomenal performances, and the rest of the team let them down. It wasn't like that, right? So I think you can blame the stars in this instance because they're the leaders of the team.
Porfirio, he's explaining. You guys are blaming the stars. It's ridiculous. Busquets was amazing. I think we both agreed with that. Messi, the only one who led up front. I didn't think Messi had a great game. I really didn't. Jordi Alba was good. I disagree with that. DePaul was decent. I disagree with that. Suarez was the only one who was bad. I agree with that. I don't get that. I really don't. He says this analysis is hilarious. When the stars don't show up, how can you blame the 19, 20-year-olds? How can you blame the 19 and 20-year-olds when the most talented,
players on
highly paid players
yeah.
are not playing well? That I don't get. Like, I get Silvetti could have been a superhero today, and he could have been a legend if he made some crazy goal. Like, if he finishes that header, we would be nonstop talking about Silvetti right now. And maybe he hits a penalty, and he's the superhero. But when you lose, I'm not blaming the 19-year-old kid for missing a header in a desperation mode. I'm just not. Seba says Frey losing his man in Nashville's second goal was the nail in the coffin for Miami. Awful match by him and Alba.
Yeah, I didn't think Frey had a particularly great performance, actually. I thought there were a few moments where he was average. Like, he wasn't great. He was average. And of course, he had some glimmers of moments where you're like, oh yeah, he's carrying the ball forward and doing well. But I think overall, he was okay.
Yeah. You know what? I would agree with that. And the other thing is when they're gonna play so narrow and tight, you need to get the ball wide and put good crosses in. And I didn't think Ian Frey was impactful in that regard. So I agree with you. And then certainly he's at fault for the Nashville goal. And now that dings him a lot. Maybe we should put Ian Frey with some of these other players. Anton says sometimes you have to lose to Saudi Arabia to win the whole thing.
That's actually a really good point. Hopefully this is our Saudi Arabia.
Ash says, what changes will Jose Mourinho make as the next head coach? John says we're at a low point, boys. John says we're at a low point, boys. We're talking about how 19-year-old Abondo and Fafa would have changed the game. I don't know if they would have changed the game, but my point is you have to continue to try things.
Yeah.
In fact, I would probably guess they wouldn't, but... Ash says, can we get Dos Santos back from San Diego? Moto also says that we shouldn't be blaming the stars, but I would like you guys to,
I don't necessarily understand that reasoning of thought. Okay, here's the thing, right? If you guys are saying the stars played well and we're criticizing them unfairly, I can understand that because then that's a difference in opinion of how certain players played. If you guys are saying that RDP played poorly and Alba played poorly, but we can't blame them, that's something that I can't understand. So maybe our understanding is different in terms of what their performances and how they performed were. And yeah, maybe after we rewatch, we might change our opinion on that. Absolutely. But I don't think Rodrigo de Paul had a particularly great game. I don't think Alba was very effective in this game. Suarez, I thought, was quite poor. And in that sense, I think it's absolutely correct to blame the stars for not playing well. Unless you think they had a good game.
Yeah, no, if you think they had a good game, that's fine.
That's a different conversation, right? Yeah.
Pepto says it's the hope that kills you. It's a good thing I'm not an optimist. Jay says Miami may get to the quarterfinals, but realistically, that's probably the best we can hope for. Here's the thing, like to bring this all full circle. They are the stars because they are ultra talented. And so if they just play better next game, Inter Miami will win. And if they play great the next game, Inter Miami will win. If they play great the next game, Inter Miami will win. So it's true that those guys will be the reason Inter Miami wins. But if they don't play great, like they're also the reason Inter Miami loses. So there's no lack of hope. Like Inter Miami can absolutely still win the MLS Cup. And they are still going to be big favorites next Saturday night. And if we hadn't gone through this last year, like I think we would be ultra confident in going home and winning next week. So I don't think this is like all like doom and gloom. Other than this is the raw reaction, and sometimes you got to get it out now so you feel better in the morning and get a little hair in therapy. But we did go through last year, so we have it in the back of our mind. Sorry, a couple chats that are like two different chats and they're not next to each other. Moto says, starting to think these guys can't see past their favorites. For real, doubling down on blaming Messi and DePaul. Either of them had an okay game or better than what Allen and Frey gave us, but they are spared criticism for whatever reason.
Okay. I thought Allen was good. I didn't think Frey was particularly great. I thought Messi was good, but not great enough for his standards. And then Rodrigo de Paul was poor.
I thought Rodrigo de Paul had the worst game of the four of them.
Yeah.
And I think Ian Frey's probably next. And maybe is on the same tier as Rodrigo de Paul because he has the penalty. But like minute for minute, Rodrigo de Paul is
penalty,
worse.
yeah, the second
and thank you. Allen had a few poor moments in possession. Like he turned the ball over a couple times. That was poor. But defensively,
so did everyone else, yeah.
And so did everyone else.
And I thought the defense was actually the saving grace of this game, by the way. I think our defense stood the test of whatever Nashville had to offer. Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen. Anyways.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. We're just going through the chats to make sure that we've covered everything. And everyone gets a word in because this has been a long and frustrating evening.
Porfirio, and this is the last one. And by the way, thank you for interacting. Like, I enjoy
this. Is enjoyable. Yeah, it gives us questions to think about, and then I'm not in my own head thinking this team sucks and we're gonna lose everything.
Porfirio says, "How about you state it like this? The Stars can't be expected to do this all by themselves, like always. Who else will step up?" You know what? I think this is a really interesting line of thinking because it is generally true that if you expect Messi to be superhuman every game,
every time,
you're going to be let down because as great as he is, he's not going to do it every single game 100% of the time. And we talk about that type of thing all season. And we talk about not overexposing them to minutes and making sure other guys have opportunities to play so that they get in good form and so that you're not overexhausting your best players so that they're fresh and ready to go come playoff time. We had those conversations the entire season. And now it's playoff time when those guys are supposed to be fresh and firing and it's do or die situations. That's when they have the pressure and are expected to perform.
And it's not even that, right? For me, I thought they performed below the expected levels. Okay, if they're not performing at the superhuman levels that they could perform at, they could perform at a good level. I thought they were poor today. Several of our superstar players I thought were poor. And the fact that they didn't even reach to that average or above average level was a little bit concerning. And that's why I called them out. But I do also think there were other players in and around who didn't have a great game. But the first person you look at is the player who's, expected to perform at a certain level and they didn't raise their game. And it's the playoffs. So you gotta raise your games.
And that's the point is, I don't think either of us think Tadeo Allende played well. Even Ian Frey, even Rocco had his bad moment. Baltasar. We're talking about those guys not having impactful games and having poor moments and all this stuff. But if that happens with Jordi Alba, it's worse because he's Jordi Alba. So anyways, thank you for the chats. I find this interesting. Pythias says Allen was horrible at critical moments and why he was subbed at halftime, which usually doesn't happen. So just in defense of Noah Allen, and here's what I'll say. These are oftentimes informative because we go back and watch the game, and then we'll pay closer attention to Noah Allen, and we might have a different opinion tomorrow after we watch. But the reason he got subbed at halftime is because Mascherano did the same exact substitution pattern he's done all year, which is take out a center back, move Busquets to the back line, and put on an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
He's not all year, for the last like 3 or 4 months. He's done this so many times when Inter Miami is down in the second half. And he pulled the trigger 15 minutes earlier than he normally does because it's a must-win game. But that's the same substitution pattern. And Noah Allen was playing worse than Maxi Falcone, who Falcone was really good. So that was the right decision. But it wasn't because Noah Allen was so bad he had to be taken out of the game. It was because you wanted to get Tlaxcala Segovia into the game and try and push the play.
They needed 2 goals. That's not a joke.
Sean says multiple World Cup winners, multiple UEFA Champions games played, yet don't blame those guys for not winning an MLS playoff series. LOL, they are to blame, says Sean. Pepto says, I don't agree with them being the favorites at all. Mascherano didn't adapt tactically to them marking Messi out. This is something that has been on my mind this whole Raw reaction, and it has been an hour and 10 minutes, so maybe we should, come to a close soon. But what went right and wrong for Inter Miami during the game is something we're going to talk about in great detail tomorrow after we've had a chance to rewatch the game and watch some of the critical possessions and see what exactly Nashville was doing right and Inter Miami was doing wrong. So we'll just leave it at that. Saur, I feel better after ranting for 72
I
minutes.
don't. I'm emotionally gone. I'm shot.
I don't know if I want to do another week of talking and thinking about Nashville, but that's where we're at. I think Inter Miami is going to win this game on Saturday. I never thought Inter Miami was going to win 8 games in a row. I think they could win 4 games in a row, and maybe this is their Saudi Arabia moment. So I am not out of hope. I still think they are going to go into next week's game as not just the favorite, but I would expect them to win comfortably. And then we go back to everything we've talked about all season, which is Cincinnati is a very tough place to play. We need Messi to score a couple goals or at least be involved in a couple goals. And then if those things happen, which they happen all the time, Inter Miami can beat anybody. So this stinks because I wanted to not have to think about Nashville anymore. I didn't want the pressure of a game 3, but I don't think this means everything is doom and gloom.
No, I think I'm more or less exhausted because I know we're gonna have to do this entire week, just having the nerves, thinking about how the game is going to go. I thought we'd be done this week, and then we have like 3 weeks off, and then we can worry about Nashville. Oh, we can worry about Cincinnati. But I will say, I do think Inter Miami is going to go through as well next week. They have no choice; they have to do it. It's the bare minimum, and I think they'll succeed in doing that. It's just, I can't do Nashville again, man. Can we just do like a 5-minute pregame show, go into the game, and then have like a 2-hour post-game show? Because this is exhausting.
Can I ask you one question? Maybe we'll end on this topic. Was tonight a blueprint for Nashville?
I don't think so. No.
I don't either.
I don't think they can repeat the same intensity at Chase Stadium.
Not just that, but like they made it very difficult for Messi.
Yeah.
Inter Miami did not adapt well to that. But is Messi not going to figure that out over the next week? And
I think he is.
Are they not going to be able to play around that in a more effective way with their sort of wide players? I think they will. Baltasar Rodriguez specifically, I want to key on him. I don't think he knew what he was supposed to do in this game, and I'm not blaming him as a player. Like I'm saying that something was thrown at him that I don't think he was ready for, like on the mental side. And I think they're going to get that figured out this week, and I think he'll come back next week and have a big impact. So, I don't think there's any. Like last year, we knew exactly what the game plan for Atlanta was, and if Inter Miami fell victim to it, it was going to happen, and it was just a hope that we could overpower it. I still don't think Nashville has like a proper game plan for this.
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens next week. Until then, I guess this is it.
What is it? The confidence kills the cat?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that's it. Curiosity kills the cat. Okay.
That's the one. But that doesn't fit the bill at all.
Guys, it's getting late. I think we need to. Sorry. There's one last one from Porfirio, and I'll end on this. He says if Messi doesn't score 2 goals or assist 2 every game, then he's off and not showing up since his baseline is winning a World Cup. I'm not saying that Messi has to get 2+ goals to play well. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying Inter Miami needs him to do that for them to win games in the playoffs. I think they need him to be a superhero. The reason I don't think he played that well today is not because he didn't get the numbers. It's because I didn't think he played that well. And I'll leave it at that because it's getting late and my eyes are getting red and I'm tired. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what I will say? No, what I'm going to say is, guys, this conversation is going to continue tomorrow. We're going to be back somewhere around this time, maybe 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So join us then, and we'll have this exact same conversation with a lot more analysis and nuance involved. And until then, let Scotty go to sleep, because when he doesn't get his sleep, he gets grumpy and he takes it out on me. So, Scotty, take it away.
See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.